Put your favorite yoga pose in the chat if you're just joining, and if you have questions, put them in the chat as well so that I can answer them. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So it will let me. Hello. I think hello. Let's check on Facebook as well. Shelly says Warrior 3. That's a good yoga pose. Awesome, awesome. So thanks for coming to hang out with me live, you guys. So I'm asking you to put your favorite yoga pose in the chat, and we are going to get started in just a second. I'm just making sure that all my tech stuff is good, and it looks like it is. Yay! Okay, perfect. Ooh, Autumn says lotus pose. I like that. Pixie says, hi, I'm already considering taking an additional course. Oh, Heart says, I've been practicing with you for a few years. I'm so glad you're doing live videos. I would like to do regular live videos. So if you have ideas on what those should be on or about, please let me know, because I think it would be fun. It's just, you know, it's a lot of technology, which is what I'm doing right now. Oh, hey, Jen Hall. So if you are joining, put YouTube if you're joining on YouTube, put Facebook in the chat if you're joining on Facebook. I'd love it if someone on Facebook could also let me know if they can hear me, or if you just put your favorite yoga pose in the chat box, I will know that you can hear me. And I'm gonna move you guys over here. Perfect. Okay. Hua. Hua. Okay. Hey, Jen. So we're talking, oh, okay, and Facebook can definitely hear me because Laura, thank you so much. She said, wild thing, but more sleeping swan on the moment. Selena says, here on Facebook and everything looks good. Christy says, no favorite poses. She's more of a breathing type person. Ooh, I like that. Okay, looks like all the tech stuff is great. So thanks those of you who hopped on early and for bearing with me in the first couple minutes of tech setup. Ooh, downward facing dog. Supta Baddha Konasana is a favorite. Don't worry about the spelling, as long as you know how to do it. Oh, that one's so relaxing. So this live stream, I like to put these together about twice a year. And it's all about talking about yoga teacher training and continuing education. So even if you are already a yoga teacher, I'm going to try to give you a lot of value here. And if you're someone who's considering training, you definitely want to stick around, because I'm going to answer tons of common questions about how to pick a training. And full disclosure, I have my own online and in-person yoga training programs. But I really just want to give value in this free training, basically, to anyone who's considering YTT, even if you want to do it with a teacher who's not me. I'm happy to give you advice, and I'm happy to answer your questions literally about anything. So some people put questions, hey, from Italy. Some people put questions in the chat. And Jen, if you're here live with me, maybe you can help me monitor some of the comments on YouTube and Facebook. If you're doing something, don't worry, but if you can, that's great, because we have a lot of people here and I want to make sure I don't miss anything. And so Jen, you can message me on Facebook, or Stephanie, if you're on here too, you can message me on Facebook Messenger and I'll see on my phone, just in case the comments start going really fast, which I feel like they already are. And Carolina, I know you had some specific questions about Chaturanga. Okay, so first things first, the big message I want to share is that if you are considering yoga teacher training, you should do it. And I got a message on Instagram from one of you, and I love what she said. She said, I'm a beginner, a little bit intermediate yogi. Is it crazy for me to just take the leap and do yoga teacher training? And I'm honestly not saying this just because I have training offerings that I share. I really say it from deep down in my heart. If you feel the call, you have to pursue this. If you take one thing away from this broadcast, water, it's that if you feel called, you have to pursue it. And the thing is, the way yoga teacher training set up is that even if you're never planning to teach, you are going to get so much value out of the experience. And what I hear time and time again, running trainings now for a couple years is people telling me that, how did I never know this information? How did I never know that down dog is supposed to be done like this as opposed to like this? How did I never know that my shin is supposed to be in this position in pigeon pose, and that if it's not, it's kind of unsafe on my knee? People have these huge epiphanies that just for their own personal practice. So put yes in the chat right now if you have questions just about your own personal practice, like how to do certain poses, the alignment of certain poses. Just give me a yes. And if you type yes, it's like you want more information. You're someone who really cares about your body. You're clearly someone who really cares about your practice. And yoga teacher training, even if you never do the teacher part of it, it's going to help you be your own best teacher. And that is huge. Being empowered with this knowledge, it really, you could just consider it like advanced yoga studies. It's just, for whatever reason, the way yoga is developed in the US, there's no way to advance your studies really except to do teacher training. That's the only way. I don't know why. That's just the way it is. So if you feel called, and this is the other thing I want to share, if you're on here live and you feel called to teach, like you've made the time to be here live, you are a healer. You have something really big that you want to share, potentially with others. Maybe right now you're just focused on healing yourself, sort of like we talked about before. So YTT is for you to deepen your practice. But I would put money on the fact that you probably have a big message that you want to share, that you, even if you're, because I was very unsure about whether I wanted to teach when I did my teacher training. Now, actually, I was just in denial because I couldn't admit to myself that I wanted to teach yoga, step into my role as a healer, and change people's lives and, you know, touch people's bodies doing myofascial release. I didn't even know what myofascial release was. I was working a corporate job and I didn't know what was possible. Admitting to myself that I actually wanted to teach yoga felt very, very frightening. It felt like something that people wouldn't expect from me, and that felt intimidating. I even felt like it would almost be like letting my parents down or something. So it's really crazy how many stories we tell ourselves in our head about what is and isn't possible for us. So, and in yoga, we call those stories vritti, mind chatter. That's exactly what they are, just kind of verbal spewage. So in addition to giving you a really strong physical foundation for your personal practice, yoga teacher training is going to give you an awareness of your thoughts. Together we study, whether it's with me or you're choosing to do it elsewhere. Hopefully they include philosophy, which means that you'll study the Yoga Sutras, which are the most incredible text and is so relevant to our daily lives, and is really going to help you shift your mindset in some ways that are going to be pretty life-changing. I don't think anyone goes through yoga teacher training without experiencing some big positive ripple effects in their whole life. So to answer the question that came through on Instagram, should I do yoga teacher training even if I'm kind of intermediate or even if I'm a little bit new? My answer is yes, you should pursue it because you're going to get physical, huge knowledge on the physical side, and it could really change your mindset in some super mind expanding ways as well. And Pixie saying, how did I never know how to do Chaturanga correctly? Exactly. Like, unless you do teacher training, so many of these postures aren't broken down. And what's so unique about my online yoga teacher training is that it's completely interactive, meaning that I'm looking at photos and videos of every single student of you doing these postures, and we're together on live streams similar to this, except it's more interactive because instead of you just having a chat box, you're actually on video with me. You can just join through your mobile phone. It's super simple, or through your computer. And we're talking, we're dialoguing, we're drawing on people's bodies. We're dissecting anatomy, and we're actually freeze framing anatomy. And I've gotten feedback from, at this point, hundreds of people who've been through this program, and many of them tell me they love it because even in an in-person YTT, it's like not every single person gets looked at in each pose. You're not able to freeze frame alignment and look at like a bunch of bodies right next to each other and see what's going on anatomically in different shapes, different bodies and bone sizes. So that's something that's really cool and really unique about online. Now, online does have drawbacks, the biggest one being that you can't practice hands-on adjustments, right? You can't touch other people. However, I personally think that you can be an incredibly effective teacher without touching someone else. In fact, my master teacher, who I love and learn from, he never really touches anyone in class. If you have really strong verbal cues, you can get people into the position that they need to be in. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with touch. Let's be honest, right? And you might not be comfortable giving touch, especially as a new teacher. So even in my 200 hour that was in person, when I trained, they didn't even teach hands-on until the 300 hour level. They thought you could be a super effective teacher just using your voice. And I really believe in that. Now, that being said, the online training does have a massive video library of hands-on adjustments. The winter, if someone's watching this and they're in the current class, we haven't gotten to that section yet, but there's a massive video library that shows all the different hands-on adjustments with me and a bunch of students when we got together at YouTube in New York. We filmed, oh my gosh, so many hands-on adjustments for you guys to check out. And you can always do a weekend. I'm offering 4 or 5 mastermind weekends throughout this year. And the link for all of this is below this video in the pinned post or below the video on YouTube, where you can join me for a 3-day workshop where we'll do hands-on assists, and we'll also talk a lot about the business side of yoga as well. So ask me some questions. I'm hearing from, and I know there's a lot that's come in. Maxine says, I want to be a special needs and disabled yoga teacher. Someone also asked in the comments about teaching chair yoga. Now, if you have a specialty in mind, for example, you want to teach prenatal, or you want to teach yin, or you want to help people with special needs, for example, what the path, because I think a lot of times people are confused about like, okay, what's the path forward? The path forward is to do your 200-hour teacher training with me or someone else online or in person. Just get that first 200 hours under your belt. And then you can do an additional specialty training that's usually going to be around 30 hours in what you're interested in. For prenatal, it's actually 100 hours. But again, you'll just accumulate hours as you go. So that's the first step. It's always to do that first 200 hour. Carolina says, I'm scared to do my YTT and become a teacher, even if this is what I want from the heart, because I have a BA and an MA that my parents paid for, so much money for my education, and I don't want to let them down. I feel so much pressure that I have to make it. Oh my gosh, Carolina, I can so relate to what you're saying. I have been there, and that pressure can feel like a lot. And I used to think, oh, well, I can never teach all this myofascial release stuff that I want to teach because I'm not a physical therapist. I didn't go to physical therapy school. At one point, I even looked up into becoming like a nurse or going back and doing nursing school so I could go be a physical therapist. The yoga practice teaches us that where we are right now in the present moment is perfect. It's not random that you did that BA and MA, and I don't know what topics they were in, but I promise you whatever topics they were in are going to serve and inform your yoga teaching in a way that you can't even imagine right now. I know that feeling of feeling like pressure that you have to make it, feeling pressure that you're going to let someone down. But again, the thing that this practice has really taught me is that this is your life, your time. You need to follow your dreams. And a lot of times we don't figure out our dreams. Like not all of us figure out our dreams like at 18 before we go to college and like pick the perfect college program. You know, it is a meandering path. Hello from Greece. Can anyone, and I think like, let's not just for Carolina, because I'm sure other people feel this way too. Like put yes in the chat if you feel like it took you a while to figure out your purpose, or put yes in the chat if you don't even know what your purpose is yet. Because I'm sure you're not alone. I'm sure so many people can relate to this. And honestly, the cost of yoga teacher training compared to a BA or an MA is like 5% or 2%. So that's good news. But it's never too late to start. And I've had people in my online teacher training who are in their 60s and 70s, and they're just now like waking up and pursuing this dream. And that's the other really cool thing about online is like you connect with these people who are in so many different life stages, right? Like when you do a local training, you get to connect with people locally and form local friendships. If you have a good local training available, that's awesome. But with online, especially the way my program's structured, we break you into these groups called jettas, where you really get to know everyone else who's in your class time, and incredible friendships are formed. And we have people from all generations, from all over the world. Like yesterday we had Louisa in our training. She's from Sweden, and she led the most amazing meditation on our live call, our live training call. And she was teaching us all about the Swedish holiday that happened, I guess, yesterday. And like that woman who I told you who was 70, I think, and in our training, you know, she was able to offer like wisdom and perspective to some of the other people in the group that just blew my mind because of the stage of life she was in. So we all get to learn from one another when we come together in community. And the great news is, thanks to new technology, coming together in community online has never been easier. You're literally on video chat and video groups with me and the other folks. So, you know, you've never missed the boat when it comes to your dreams. Again, like if you feel called, you need to pursue this. I resisted signing up for training. Once I finished training, I resisted teaching for 3 or 4 years just because I couldn't admit to myself that's what I really wanted. Please, if you're on this live stream, don't wait 3 or 4 years. And, you know, it wasn't until a teacher friend of mine really kind of told me, she was like, you need to start teaching. She kind of kicked my butt. She was like, you need to pursue this. And I needed that encouragement from her in order to make a step forward. And if you join any of my programs in person or online, like I'm going to be that voice of encouragement for you, because we can't do it in a vacuum. You need support. You need that encouraging voice. And Sin just wrote in the chat, she's in training right now. She said, I've made so many beautiful friendships already in training. You meet different people with the same passion as you from all over the world. Yeah, and we've had people from like different parts of the country when they're like vacationing in that person's part of the world, they like meet up. It really is like this big interconnected family, which is incredible. I saw that, Jen, thank you. Just, I think you can scroll back in the chat. Autumn says, I have cerebral palsy and I really want to do yoga teacher training. I feel called to this, but I'm afraid of standing out. Oh, well, Autumn, I would really encourage you to do training because you are probably going to be able to share and teach from the most incredible place, since you have cerebral palsy, and other people who have that need someone like you to go through a YTT to be able to teach and share and heal them. So, you know, standing out, it's funny you're saying I'm afraid of standing out, because one of the biggest things we cover in the business aspect of the training is like how to brand yourself and how to find your niche. And that's like actually one thing people always want to find out about, is how to stand out. So, you know, they want to know how to stand out from the crowd. So if you already have like something like that, like a specific population that you really want to help already sorted out, then that's actually a huge gift. And I would pursue it right away. So Fluffy Kitten on YouTube, she's asking, what is continuing education, I think is what she means. And continuing education, this is really cool. I meant to mention this earlier, but if you already hold a 200-hour degree, so if you already are a yoga teacher, you can take my online program, yoga teacher training, for less than 50% of the cost. It's a massive cost savings. And you kind of get to like redo or retake your 200-hour certification online with me and all the interaction and community. It is such a great deal. And it's so fun. I know a lot of people, even if they do a local training, well, and this is something I want to talk about on this call, is like, how do you sort of assess a training? How do you know what is the best fit for you? And I can tell you quite honestly that over 60% of people in my bridge program, the bridge program is what we call the people who are taking it for continuing education, who are already yoga teachers, 60+% of them tell me that they are taking it because they were disappointed in the scope or the approach of their first 200-hour. And that really breaks my heart, because doing a 200-hour in person is a massive investment of time and money. But the reality is, you know, a lot of times you just, if in doing the program like closest to your house, it's not necessarily just because that program's convenient and nearby. It doesn't mean that it's the correct philosophy that matches with your values or whatever you're most interested in. So take that into consideration if you're picking a training right now. And if you've already done a 200-hour, know that you can come take mine online at a highly, highly discounted rate. Okay. Carolina said, thank you for replying. And she told us, yeah, for addressing this fear and what people will expect of you and becoming financially independent. Yeah, these are such important topics, and we dive into all of this super deep in training. I mean, one of the biggest pieces of feedback that I get from the online training and then the in-person training, where I also am running these masterminds. For those of you that are yoga teachers, you can come to like an in-person mastermind 3-day workshop with me. BrettLarkin.com/mastermind. I think there's 5 already scheduled out for this coming year. Addressing this kind of fear and expectation and finances is something that we do all the time. And one of the biggest pieces of feedback I get from people is just like how open and honest I am. You know, I'm not going to live stream to you here and tell you that you're going to make a ton of money as a yoga teacher in your first year of business. I'm not going to tell you that because it wasn't my experience, and I only teach from my own direct experience. You know, like anything, there is abundance available in this career path, 100%, especially if you get aligned with mentors, tribe, other people who have that same abundance mentality as you, who can mentor you, who can help you, who can encourage you. But it's not going to happen right away. It took me years to transition from my full-time job to doing this as now my career that, you know, provides me with more abundance than my full-time job, which was great, ever did. But that was a slow progression. So I'm very honest about talking very openly about how I made that switch, what the finances look like, what you can expect. And Avi says, I run a free class 3 times a week. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, I want to look at the chat box a little bit. But again, the fear and financial piece is something that was never addressed in my training when I did training years and years ago. I loved my training. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. But, you know, stuff like money, the business side of yoga, I mean, that was just literally never mentioned, ever. So that is something I very consciously put into my online program, where I don't just talk to you about the business side of things. I bring in other teachers as well. You get to hear from Leslie Fightmaster, Cassandra Reinhardt, a really huge local teacher that's super popular here where I live, because I want those of you who want to teach locally to get the insider business skills from him. We even have a new branding course that's coming out that teaches you actually how to use some web tools like Canva to sort of design your yoga brand, so you don't have to spend a ton of money on a designer when you graduate. So these are value adds that I've built into the online training that I'm really passionate about sharing. So Maxine says, oh yeah, Maxine had asked us earlier that she has an abdominal separation and she's trying to fix with physiotherapy. Can I still join? So, and Selena, I'll answer your question next. So this is another question that comes up a lot with training is, I have an injury or I'm pregnant. Can I do yoga teacher training? And can you do the online program? The answer is yes. In fact, I love having people who are injured in training, because it gives us an opportunity when we look at your poses to look at some pretty deep modifications. And that's a huge value add to the training and to all your fellow students, right? When we're all on video chat together and looking at one another's asanas, physical postures, it's really boring if everyone can just like do the pose perfectly, right? Because I'm trying to simulate the kinds of scenarios you're going to see out in the real world, out in a classroom setting. So if you have an injury, it's no problem. You can do a modified version of the pose for your pose submission. And that could be as extreme as, for example, if you, don't like doing back bends, or that's too aggressive, you could do like a supported thing on a bolster and literally submit that for your Urdhva Dhanurasana photo or something like that. The philosophy in the Uplifted yoga teacher training is really that every body is unique and that there's no one size fits all approach. A lot of other trainings out there are really married to a lineage or a particular school way of doing things. And someone asked about lineage, I think before the live stream even started, so I'll touch on that. And if you're like a hardcore Ashtangi and you know that you want your life to be about Ashtanga, my training's not the right fit for you. You need to go do a training with someone from the Ashtanga lineage who is very passionate about passing that knowledge on. My training is much more, I love Marie just put this in the YouTube chat. She said yoga for real people. Yeah, mine is much more pulling from a variety of lineages. So yes, a little bit of Ashtanga, Patabi Joyce, Iyengar, the Ishta yoga, which is how I was trained. That's the integrated science of Hatha, Tantra, and Ayurveda. So I studied under Alan Finger for a number of years. So that's, my approach is very much, how can we make this practice accessible to whoever is in front of us, whether they have cerebral palsy, whether they are a total beginner, and how can you modify these postures instead of saying that, hey, everyone's body needs to fit this shape? How can we say, how can these shapes, how can these asanas fit this body? Because everyone is totally unique, and body reading is really what I teach you in this training. And I have a mastermind weekend that's just about fascia and body reading as well, if you want to study with that with me in person. So you can really kind of see how different we are down to the level of our bones. You know, we're not all the same. These postures are not going to look the same for everyone. So bottom line about lineage, I feel like I lost my train of thought with another question. Oh, but Maxine saying about, yeah, it's totally okay. If you're pregnant, it's totally okay. In fact, I love it because it gives more variety to the training, to have people who are injured. Oh, holistically, Siobhan says, I'm signed up for the winter class. Woohoo, that's awesome. I'm so excited. And Crystal says, my motto is yoga has curves because I'm not a small person, and she wants to enroll in August, but I'm a little nervous about it. Oh, well, tell me what you're nervous about. Are you nervous about the curvy part, or are you nervous about something else so I can answer it for you? And oh my gosh, we have totally curvy people in training. We have everyone. That's the other thing that's really cool about online is that there is just, you know, different studios and sometimes different lineages, even though it's wonderful and it's yoga, there can be like a little bit of judgment, you know, with online. Like, this is the most loving community you're ever going to be a part of. And if you go to BrettLarkin.com/YTT, really simple, BrettLarkin.com/YTT, and you enter your email there's like 5 or 6 podcasts all about the online training, as well as a masterclass about how to pick a training, kind of more of the stuff we're talking about today, except it's not interactive. And there's a great podcast on there with one of my prior online students, Amanda. She's really fun. I interview her because she did an in-person training, and then she was a bridge student, so she did my online training as well. So she really had the experience of both in-person and online, and we talk about that in the podcast. So if you're not really sure what you want to do, listen to that podcast with Amanda, because she has no agenda, and she's just talking to me about what her experience was with each. But one of the big things she said, Christelle, is that she said that she felt like the online community and like within the Uplifted training was the most supportive, safe way to learn about the practice. And, you know, it is intimidating to take photos and videos of your body and put them up for me and your classmates to see. It's a little scary, but honestly, again, we have people of all shapes, sizes, and countries in training right now, and there's nothing but love in the group. I mean, it is just love, love, love. Okay, so yeah, be proud of your body. The body's been through a lot. So coming back to that lineage idea, you know, if you're very passionate about a specific lineage, like if you want to be an Iyengar teacher and teach just like 4 poses a class and use the chair and all the props, again, my training's not going to be the best fit for you. My training is for people who want to teach to real people in the real world, help them modify, help the practice meet them where they are, you know, do privates, corporates. It's a vinyasa-based training. It's based on my training, as I said, integrated science of Hatha, Tantra, and Ayurveda. And the yoga philosophy part is huge. Fascia is huge. Fascia is the interconnective tissue, huge passion of mine. Tom Myers, who's the world's authority on fascia, he and I are together in the training giving a guest lecture, lots of information for you guys. And then the business side is, I think those are kind of like the key differentiators of my training. And the fascia I'm so passionate about is because the fascia takes into account the whole person, the whole body. So it really ties well with with this idea of like looking at each person as an individual. And Sin, who's in the training right now, says everyone is so supportive and open-minded. Yeah, I mean, the thing is when you, and let's talk a little bit more about picking a training because I want this to be really valuable for you guys. And Sin also says, many bridge students I met so far in the training say they are learning so much more from your program, meaning mine, thank you. And they can use that to link to their previous knowledge. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna offer the bridge at the discounted rate that it's at. So I mean, if you're already a yoga teacher, like get on it because you really have nothing to lose by taking it. You only have so much info to gain. Someone says my dog is very well trained in the back. So this is from Estopar. I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name right. He says, I've been doing research on local and online teacher training options and I'm gravitating towards yours. Is there a scholarship program for military spouses or the like? Great question. We've had people in the military take the training, which is awesome. Really, really cool people. And we definitely have had military spouses. I know that basically it just comes down to paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork in terms of those scholarships. So you can email and send me more information, info@brettlarkin.com. If we don't do it, it's just because we're such a small team and it's like a lot of paperwork basically for us to get those kinds of scholarships or reimbursements approved. So it's not like I wouldn't love to do it. It's not that I don't want to do it. It really just comes down to like an administrative overhead issue. Oh, Maxine, and did you just sign up just now? That's awesome. Okay, so yeah, we were talking about lineage. I know there were other questions that had come up. So here's one from On. Is the YTT a good place to work through mental, emotional blocks? Oh my gosh, juicy question. Yes, 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 and yes. Just like I said before, this is, you come into yoga teacher training thinking that you want to learn how to do Chaturanga correctly with correct alignment. You come out with this like whole new mindset, whole new group of friends. Stuff is going to come up. One of the in-person trainings I just led with Leslie Fightmaster, we brought in the philosophy portion. Like people got emotional. This is not for the faint of heart, folks. Like you are going to have big breakthroughs when you do a training like this. And if you're feeling like you're stuck, this is going to unstuck you. I don't know if every yoga teacher training would do that, but I can promise you if you do it with me, it will, because I really love helping people get into action. And that's a big thing. That's whether you do the online YTT or online bridge, you practice teach online. In fact, the session I'm leading this afternoon, we're going to be practice teaching meditation to one another. It's very easy to like do a yoga teacher training and kind of not get into action if you don't have a teacher who's really committed to your success and kind of like cracking the whip on you to get into action. I'm going to encourage you to get into action every moment of this training because we only learn from our own direct experience, and I only want you teaching from your own direct experience. So getting into action is the #1 way to overcome fear, to get you closer to your goals, and it's scary. But it's like me and the other people in the program are holding your hand every single step of the way. And Siobhan says, I'm glad that there is a unique mix of people in the Uplifted community. I don't see many people that look like me at my local studio, and it makes me feel outside of the community. Totally. Yes. Like 100%. And Maxine says, you have to learn all the yoga poses before the teacher training class. So that's a great question. We have this really beautiful manual. And inside the manual, there's a detailed breakdown literally of, I don't want to say every single yoga pose because there's so many yoga poses, but there's all the core poses that I consider fundamental as part of the 200 hour. So I'd say, I don't know, what do you think, Jen, or someone else who's watching? But I'd say it's at least 40 poses. Oh, and thank you, Sylvia on YouTube, for saying that you're glad you found my channel. So another thing that's a big differentiator, I think, in terms of the manual that I put together is that I give you the exact teaching cues. So literally exactly what I say when I teach each pose. And sequencing tips, transitioning, all the anatomy. And the manual, we make you get the manual, a hard copy of the manual, even though it's an online training, because it's sort of like a workbook. So you fill it out as you watch the videos, especially for the anatomy section. So to answer the question, you don't have to learn all the poses before teaching a class, but I would encourage you to know all the poses in the manual. Although you can start, practice teaching friends and family right now. Okay, Jen's telling me a question I missed. Thank you, Jen. You were the absolute best. Selena had a Facebook I was going to go back to. Thank you. She said, I've been drawn to YTT for a few years, but I feel terrified to actually teach. I work full time with a young daughter and there just isn't extra time to teach, but I think it would be amazing for my own self-practice and for the future. How much time does the online require on a weekly basis? Okay, great question. Talking about time commitment. So, and let me just make sure that people can still see me on Facebook. Yes, you can. Okay, great. So the typical in-person trainings usually operate on a nights and weekend model, meaning that you're doing the training, if it's an extended format training, usually a couple weeknights and then weekends throughout the year. And then there's also these like boot camp type trainings where you can go and it's like you go for a month intensive. They have them in India and Costa Rica, that kind of thing. And you just like do your whole 200-hour in a month. Both of those formats were never really appealing to me. Doing it all in 1 month, I just can't even imagine. I mean, you'd have no time to process. You'd have no time to kind of do the emotional work in your daily life as you go through the training. Again, if you have some time off or you're between jobs, that could be a really good fit for you. But it is a lot to process all at once. And then the nights and weekends option, if you don't have kids and you can do it, that's great. I know for me, having a husband and a 6-month-old and a dog, piecing out every weekend is just not feasible for me. So I can really relate to Selena with a young daughter. That's just never going to happen. And even when I did my 200-hour in person when I was young and unattached, I actually almost had a nervous breakdown because I was working a full-time job at the time. I was in like a demanding relationship and I didn't have kids yet, but the nights and weekends, like not having any time to myself, was really challenging. And this is why I got really passionate about putting together something online that was insanely high quality and interactive, but flexible. So I would budget, if you want to do the online training, I would budget 10 hours a week. 10 hours a week. I know that sounds, maybe that sounds like a lot, maybe that sounds like a little. The good news is that 10 hours a week, probably 5 hours of that is going to be either being online live with me, watching the premium video content that's part of the training, which is so many hours of content, but you can access it just on your phone, download the videos to your phone. I mean, this is all sent to you when you sign up. Or not when you sign up, but when training starts. And then the other 5 might be like doing the homework, like we talked about in here, maybe doing some reading because there's some books like assigned reading. There's also assigned reading, in the manual itself, and then taking photos of your poses and that kind of thing. But I walk you through all that. So I think 10 hours a week is a good gauge. We have a lot of people with kids who take this course. And it's really cute because we see their kids in their photos that they take at home, and the kids are in their lap sometimes for the live calls. So, I mean, it's special and it's lovely and it's super, super accessible. So Laura says, when will we get the manual for the training in August? And someone asked that on YouTube too. So basically, we send out the link for you to get the manual. I think it's exactly 1 month before the training starts. So if the training starts August 20th, registration closes July 20th. So just because the training starts in August, like if you're not sure, take action and figure out if it's a good fit for you now. Because a couple things, the 7-month payment plan, which is really popular, closes at the end of this month. I think it closes in 3 weeks, pending if you're watching this in the future, please check the website because this will be outdated. But it closes. So if you want that 7-month payment plan, it's interest-free. Again, it's just trying to make stuff work for people, you can sign up for that. Otherwise, registration closes completely July 20th if we don't sell out before then. Because again, this is a limited number of people. We definitely had the max number of people this past round. So, I only like to have, around 35 people on a call at a time. Like it's not going to be like this big where you're like an anonymous space. Like I really know everyone in the training's name. I like to keep it intimate. So we pretty much always sell out at least 6 weeks before. And this year we're actually completely shutting everything down a month before, just because there's a lot of admin stuff that has to happen to get you guys set up to do the training. Like getting the manual and, figuring out all your tech stuff. So July 20th is really like the last possible moment that you could join. And, I would join in the next couple weeks if you want to take advantage of any of the payment plans and make sure that you get a spot because we're already, I think, 65 or 70% enrolled at this point. Okay, Carolina. Question for internationals. I'm Italian and live in the Netherlands. If I want to do the modules with you in person and then be able to register with YA, is coming to the States the only way to complete them? And does continuing education bridge also need to be completed partially in person to be able to count to YA? Okay, great questions. So for anyone who wants to know the deal with Yoga Alliance, go to BrettLarkin.com/YTT, enter your email there. And then again, there's like all the podcasts related to yoga teacher training. And I have one just about Yoga Alliance. It's really important that you understand Yoga Alliance before you commit to an online or in-person training. So to answer Carolina's question, if you do the bridge program, so say you are a 200-hour teacher, you did your program locally, you're registered with Yoga Alliance, which by the way is optional, right? You don't have to register with Yoga Alliance. You don't have to give them your money. I never paid them for years. It's like a totally optional kind of like yoga teacher directory that you can choose to pay and be a part of in order to use RYT, which means registered yoga teacher, after your name. If you don't care about using their trademark, so really you're paying them to have that trademark after your name. If that's not something you care about, you don't have to pay them money and you don't have to worry about any of this because you can get insurance and you can teach without registering with Yoga Alliance. And I show you how to get insurance as part of the online program, which is really cool. I have a direct module on that. So the website for the podcast is BrettLarkin, 2 T's, /BrettLarkin.com/YTT. Super easy to remember, just YTT. And oh, that's awesome that Pixie said that. Okay, but just to finish, and thanks for putting in the chat, Jen. And just to answer Carolina's question. So if you're an in-person person, you've done an in-person training, you are registered with Yoga Alliance, and you do the bridge program, it does count towards continuing education because Yoga Alliance says you can have, I think it's 20 hours a year of continuing education credit that's online. And then they say 10 hours has to be in person. But again, that's you just uploading your certificates. So when people graduate from my bridge program, I give them, I think it's 5 different 20-hour certificates for the different online modules that they completed within the training. I mean, honestly, it's a lot more than that, but it's basically like your continuing education with Yoga Alliance is set for like 5 or 6 years. If you do the online 200-hour, just purely online, and you're never with me in person, you can't register with Yoga Alliance unless you study with me in person. This is, again, their rules, not mine. So you'd have to come to an in-person training that I usually co-lead with Leslie Fightmaster, who's a really awesome, incredible yoga teacher trainer who has great content here on YouTube as well, if you're watching this in YouTube. And Carolina asked, do you have to come all the way to the States? No, you don't. She and I are going to be leading an in-person training in Greece, June 2019. So not June of this year, June of next year. So a great option would be to do the online training with me. And then if you really wanted to register with Yoga Alliance for whatever reason, you could follow it up with the in-person training and get knowledge from Leslie too, either in the States, usually we run it in California, or in Europe. We're planning to do it in Europe at least once a year. And there's definitely like a discount that will be available if you do online and then do in person after. So Marie on YouTube, thank you, Jen, for being so amazing and helping me moderate. Everyone give heart emojis and likes right now for Jen Hall, who is amazing and an incredible mentor in Uplifted, and she's also a TA in the yoga teacher training. So Marie asked, how can we start teaching while we start a YTT? Okay, so that's a great question. Something I tell people always is like, get into action around teaching right away. Like start teaching ASAP. Now you want to be careful because we did just talk about like yoga insurance, for example, and you can't get your yoga insurance unless you have your degree. So what I would encourage you to do is if you want to get into action around teaching is to teach people who probably won't sue you, like your parents. That's what I taught my friends, my dad, teach friends and family. Don't, obviously just be smart about it, right? You could also have people sign a waiver, and I also show you my waiver form as part of my online YTT and like give you that as a template. Really, I try to empower you with as many business tools as possible, and you're not gonna find that in a local YTT that you do. So yeah, just be smart about it. Practice, teach your friends and family. It's literally the best place to start. I joke and say, like, I used to teach meditation to any of my friends who would let me. Like, I would literally call my friends and be like, hey, what are you doing? Can I come teach you meditation? And my friend Jackie, who lived like a couple blocks from me, she's like, yeah, I'm just folding laundry. I'd be happy to meditate for a little bit. I'd be like, awesome. And I lived in New York at the time, and I'd get on my bicycle and I'd bike to her and I'd teach her some meditation. So you really want to be getting into action like that. And again, I'll be helping you get into action if you're part of the training. So Elke says she does about 10 hours of asana yoga weekly, excluding meditation. Pixie said one of the best parts of the Uplifted YTT is that it's designed for all levels and abilities. You don't have to be a glam practitioner, which held me back for years. Totally. And Jen just said you can get insurance without being YA approved. 100% you can. Yoga Alliance is really it's voluntary. And again, if you want more info on it, go to that BrettLarkin.com/YTT link to get like all the detailed podcasts on yoga teacher training. Okay, so unless people have more questions. Oh, and then I know I put as part of when I was sort of talking about this live stream, how to know if a yoga teacher training program is legit, whether it's online or in person, some questions to ask. Some tips for you guys around that is that I would really ask if they have a manual. Manual is going to be super important. Now, they may not show you the manual. For example, I'll show it to you like this, but I'm not going to, mail it to you because obviously this is my life. This is like my intellectual property. It's huge value in this manual, which is why we don't mail it to people until training's closed and we know that the people who've registered are in, and then we send it out. So if a program doesn't have a manual, that I think would be a red flag. I think that would be a big red flag. If a program won't send you their syllabus, that for me would also be a red flag. Because it's one thing for a training or an in-person or online to say like, hey, we cover this stuff, but it's like, what does that really mean? Make sure that it's detailed. And again, on my sales page for the training, I give a ton of detail, and then I have a box right there where you can enter your email and your name, and I send you the syllabus from, I think it's like last year's class, but we follow the same format. It's just the dates that are different. So you can literally see like what we cover on every single call, like exactly what poses are covered. It's totally transparent. That, to me, if a program didn't have a syllabus that they'd be willing to share with me, you can say, hey, it can be a syllabus from like last year, just so you can see what content's actually covered. That for me would be a red flag. A training that's telling you that you have to pay extra fees for stuff, like full transparency, we make people buy the manual just because we need to ship it to you all over the world. So pending where you live, there's extra budget involved there. But if people are saying like there's ongoing fees every year to be like certified in their method or something like that, so you have to keep paying year after year, or that you have to pay Yoga Alliance when you totally don't have to unless you want to. That kind of thing. Like anything where there's extra fees built in, that I think would also be a red flag. So, I mean, again, whether you're choosing to, and then ultimately, like the biggest piece of advice I can give about picking to do a yoga teacher training is to do it with a teacher that you really believe in. That is the most important thing, because when you come out of training, you're going to sound like your teacher. I mean, it's just the way it is. Like you kind of copycat your teacher and then you develop your own voice that like, it's really beautiful. But like if you are just doing a training because it's convenient or because it fits in your vacation schedule, like to do an intensive or something like that, I mean, to me, that's a red flag. Like, don't do that. Wait, save your money and do it with the teacher who really like lights your heart on fire, because it's such an intimate experience, YTT. It really is. It's intimate. It's life-changing. Emotions are going to come up and you're going to sound like whoever you train with for the first little bit while you're figuring stuff out. So that has to be with someone you're really passionate about. So if that means that you have to save money and wait in order to be able to travel with a teacher, or if it means you end up doing it online, you know, and I'm not saying you have to do it with me, like whoever that teacher is that really speaks to you, do your training with them if they offer it, if at all feasible. I think that's like the best advice I can give. And yeah, this will be up for recast or for replay at Desiree, so don't worry. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna flip on over if I can figure out how. I might not be able to figure out how. Basically, I'm gonna be quiet for a little bit while I see if I can share my screen with you guys. Put any last questions in the chat. If you got any value from our chat today, please put like likes, hearts, I don't know, but there's a way to do it. You can like, you can click hearts, you can click emojis. Jen's gonna help me look in the chat, but I'd love to answer any last questions that I may have missed. Oh, and I think that I maybe can I share my screen? Let's see if it will let me. Yeah, it will. Okay. So we'll open this up here. So what I'm showing right now, oh, this is the mastermind. So if you're on Facebook, you're right now seeing the mastermind info. So this is all the info on this that's coming up. So definitely check this out. And then this is all the info. This is the info on the online training. So you can get all the info right here. So if you go to BrettLarkin.com, you'll find it. Again, registration closes in July. So you're going to want to, you know, just figure out if it's the right fit. And I'm here to help you figure that out. A huge goal was to do that in this broadcast. And if you have more questions, you know, put them in the chat right now. Or again, you can definitely reach out on Facebook in the Facebook groups. You can email info@BrettLarkin.com to get more information. And this is all the details. So Jen, if you can message me if there's other questions in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just gonna, and I'll keep my, and do you see my screen now, by the way, on everything? You still see me on YouTube. Hopefully it'll switch over. So proven, personalized, powerful. This is also like a great little video about how the training works. So I'd encourage you to watch this video because it really kind of gives you a sense of what the training kind of works. You were screen sharing. Present to everyone. Okay, maybe now the screen share is working on YouTube. Yeah, so Proven, personalized, powerful. Definitely watch this video, this watch to learn more. It really will help you learn more because it'll help you visualize like exactly what happens in training. This video is awesome. So watch that if you're interested. Why train online? Okay, tons of flexibility, learn at your own pace, resources forever. Oh my gosh, I would do anything to be able to go back, and take my 200-hour again, you know, because it's so much content and it really just goes by in a blur. So being able to like have lifetime access to all of these videos, again, as a bridge student or a YTT student, I mean, this to me is huge, this resources forever, because you can rewind, you can pause, you can look at this stuff weeks, years, or decades later to sort of enhance your teaching. Easy, convenient, personalized, and then this transform in and out. I mean, this is really true. I mean, your whole life is going to change through doing yoga teacher training. I know that sounds cheesy and corny, but I promise it really is a life-changing experience. So don't think of it as an investment just in your yoga. Like it is, in my opinion, I feel like it's therapy and life coaching and like everything all round up into one. It's really about stepping into your role as a healer and a leader. Honestly, even if you don't think of yourself as a healer and a leader right now. And yeah, we have philosophy. Okay, so then these are kind of the 6 pillars that really set my training apart from other ones that you might look at. So when you're trying to figure out if it's a good fit for you, these are the things to know. This is an online training, but it's deeply, deeply, deeply interactive. And again, I have in-person trainings too, but that's just not the focus of this this webcast because the next in-person one's in September. This is closing July 20th with the payment plan closing later this month. So deeply, deeply interactive. And that's like not filling out an online quiz, that's being on video with me just like this, except it's more interactive because you're on video too, 3 times a week, potentially. And you have to be live at least once a week with me because I really want to get to know you. It's about yoga beyond the mat, right? So we're not just talking about asana, we're talking about your whole life. Really how this practice has a positive ripple effect into your relationships with your partner, your kid. Fascia, huge passion of mine. As I mentioned, Tom Myers is in the training. This is like the hot new thing in medicine. People are just beginning to understand the power of the fascia and myofascial release. Anatomy meets the subtle body. So there's a lot of anatomy, but we're always tying it back to the energetics, the subtle body as well, like the koshas, the bandhas, the chakras, those of you who've done chakra challenge with me. And then meditation. You know, a lot of yoga teacher trainings just like skim the surface of meditation. We really go deep into pranayama and meditation. I think that, you know, meditation is huge. And again, it's where you're really going to see those changes in your life. You know, like doing headstand isn't going to make you enlightened or a better parent, but, you know, meditating is really going to affect your daily life and relationships. And then this be your own boss is basically the business side of it, right? Most trainings don't talk about money. They don't talk about how to launch a successful business, whether it's in person or online. They don't talk about social media. These are all things that I highlight and go really deep into. Here you can see more of the training modules, and we have lots of videos, tons of info for here. This is where you can fill out to get the PDF. Because again, I only want people in this program who are like, this is the right fit for me. So please get the full syllabus so you can really see if it's going to work for you. And then, yeah, everything's available on your smartphone, audio lectures. I'll let you guys scroll through the rest of this as you're ready. But I just wanted to share the training page with you. And the links are, if you're on YouTube, the links to go to this page or the mastermind page are directly below this video. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to sign off unless there's any other additional questions that came up while I was showing you guys things. Let me look what Jess says. Siobhan says, do you teach about Ayurveda as well? Yes, we have an Ayurveda module. Desiree asks, when is the next one and how long is it? So, oh my gosh, how long is it? Jen, help me. It's It's 3 to 4 months. I used to know the exact number of weeks it is. Download the syllabus, but basically it's 3 to 4 months. Carolina asked, do you cover any social media marketing part in your YTT? Yes, we have modules on Facebook marketing, Instagram marketing. We have an entire branding course all about how to brand yourself online. What philosophy do we cover? We cover the Yoga Sutras, Pada 1, Pada 2. We cover Tantric philosophy, also Samkhya philosophy, which is tied into that. And we also read this really amazing book by Jack Kornfield, who is an incredible author and meditation teacher that's very philosophical as well. So yeah, it's the sutras plus Tantra and Samkhya philosophy. And yeah, download the syllabus for more info in that. And next one starts August 20th. Registration closes in July. And then there'll be another one in January or February of 2019. So thank you, Jen, for helping me catch those last questions. I don't see any more questions on YouTube. You are so welcome, Carolina. And oops, Jen says more questions above. Nope, I got those. Yep. And I can't believe I was able to broadcast on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously. This is like very advanced stuff for me. Marie says a huge thank you for all the information, encouragements, and support. And they can see the screen share on YouTube. Oh, thank you for all the hearts. And is the training with Leslie as well? If you do the in-person training, it's also going to be with Leslie. The online training is like my training. It's just with me, although Leslie does show up in some videos, like as a guest star. All right, I'm going to sign off. Really, if you were here, if you were listening, if you were live, you need to pursue this. Like, you are a healer. You are a leader. You have something big to share. There's something unique about what the lens and perspective that you're going to bring to yoga. And I really want to help you figure out what that is so that your light can shine and you can help teach and heal people. Like, honestly, this career is such a gift. Even if you just want to teach for fun, it enriches your life in the most amazing way. And I just want you to take action. So if you're still not sure what to do, go to BrettLarkin.com/YTT, because that'll give you all those podcasts with more info. And if you know you do want to take action, the links to sign up are in the pinned post right below this video on Facebook and in the description right below this video on YouTube. And definitely, if you sign up, shout out on social media and let me know you were on the live stream so I know, so I can like virtual high five you. And I'm sending so much love from my heart to yours. Namaste. And that will be the really awkward part where I try to figure out how to end the live stream. Jen, thank you so much for helping me moderate. Stop streaming. And on here, also, we're going to stop somehow. I don't know how. Oh, man. Stop.